Do 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 do. Bang. Hello, and welcome, Blood Bowl fans! I am Dr. Carnivean, and this is Rufus. And you're watching the Diabolical Sports Desk, where you throw me the idol, I throw you the whip. Today we're taking a close-up look at the second game in the Diabolical Bracket Tournament between the Blight Stuff and the Snake Mountain Quirky Miniboss squad. And just like in the first game, there's going to be a chance for a lucky viewer to win a Games Workshop team box. This time we'll be giving away the Nurgle's Rotters team. That's right. The Blight Stuff are a Nurgle team using minis from Willy Miniatures. They've been used previously in 2 fairly high team value tournaments, and they were pretty disappointing in both. Their combined tournament record is 0 wins, 4 losses, and 2 ties. They'll be hosting this game against the Snake Mountain Quirky Miniboss squad, a team made up of Skeletor and his evil minions from the Masters of the Universe. I had originally built the miniatures and the display base in 2013 and 2014 to act as a Dark Eldar army for the 40k event at Crucible 3, and most of the minis were sculpted from scratch. In Blood Bowl, they play as Khemri, since Skeletor's minions are often depicted as slow and clumsy. They were used at Ken Park's Loser Bowl in 2018, where they won the award for winningest team! Yes, at the Loser Bowl we played against our own teams in the first 2 rounds, and only got to play as our team in the final round. But I'm still happy to say the Snake Mountain Miniboss squad has a 3-0 tournament record, and is the only undefeated team of anyone in the Diabolical Bracket Tournament. Well, the Blight Stuff find themselves in a very unusual position for a Nurgle team. They face an opposing team that is stronger, has more regeneration, hits harder, and tar pits better than they do, forcing them to rely on a slight speed advantage and an agility advantage. Again, an unusual situation for a Nurgle team to be in. True, that is one other thing they have on their side. Still, I would say the Blight Stuff were at a distinct disadvantage here were it not for Disturbing Presence. They have 5 players with a Disturbing Presence skill on their roster, meaning that any player on the other team trying to pick up, catch, or pass the ball has to subtract 1 from their die roll for every player with a Disturbing Presence skill within 3 squares of them, and the highest agility on a Khemri team is 2. Right. The core of the Blight Stuff team are the quartet of Strength 4 bloaters with Block and Mighty Blow, in addition to their usual Disturbing Presence, Foul Appearance, and Regeneration skills. Individually, Team Captain Lord Horrificus also has the Claw and Tackle skills. Rotfeast the Unclean has Claw and Piling On. Festerskull has the Tentacle skill, and Oozedrool the Vile has the Extra Arm skill, allowing him to pick up the ball on a 3 if there are no other penalties. The front line is centered around Bileflood, a Strength 5 Plague Beast with Regeneration, Disturbing Presence, Foul Appearance, Mighty Blow, and Tentacles, along with the Loner and Very Stupid rules. He also has the Guard skill to help power up the front line, and as the spiritual mascot for the team, he also has the Leader skill, giving the Blight Stuff their sole reroll. The mobility for the team is provided by a trio of Movement 6 pestigors, with horns and regeneration. Slimehooves also has the Sure Hand skill, and is the primary ball carrier for the team. The big powerhouse on the team is Orcus, the Impure King, a star player who uses Blackhoof stat line. He's a Movement 6, Strength 6 monster with Frenzy, Horns, Mighty Blow, and Thick Skull. Finally, the team is finished off by 4 zombified Rotters, the only players on the team other than Orcus who do not possess the regeneration skill. The only notable Rotter is Timmy the Cruel, who has both the Sneaky Git and Dirty Player skills, so expect him to be fouling as much as possible. Again, the Blight Stuff have no rerolls other than the one from the Leader skill. They have a fan factor of +1. Right. the Snake Mountain Quirky Miniboss Squad. Yup. Anyway, they play as Khemri, as stated earlier, so as Khemri, all of their players have the regeneration skill, and their highest agility score is a lowly 2. The captain of the team is Skeletor himself, a star player with the same stat line as Ramtut III. He's a movement 5, strength 6 with break tackle, mighty blow, and wrestle in addition to the loner skill. The heart of their line is the 4 strength 5 heavy hitters. 2 of them, Leech and Clawful, have the block, guard, and mighty blow skills, while Too Bad and Whiplash also have in addition the tackle skill. True. Spikor and Tongue Lasher are the 2 movement 6 blitzers, each with block, tackle, and mighty blow. Most of the ball handling for the Snake Mountain Quirky Miniboss Squad is done by King Hiss and Hordak, a pair of movement 6 players with the block, sure hands, and pass skills. King Hiss is also a little more slippery with the dodge skill, and Hordak has the leader skill, giving the team their second reroll. Trapjaw, Squeeze, and Stinkor, a trio of movement 5 linemen with thick skull, complete the team. Trapjaw also has the kick skill, as his robotic arm is perfectly calibrated to put the football wherever their coach Evil Lyn wants it to go when kicking the ball off. The Snake Mountain Quirky Miniboss Squad has a single reroll in addition to the one from Hordak's leader skill, and they have no extra fan factor. As general strategies go, for the Blight Stuff, they want to keep their Disturbing Presence players from getting bogged down with the Strength 5 players on the other side, so they'll be able to spread the influence of Disturbing Presence over as much of the field as possible. Their opponents conversely want to surround these 5 players and box them in, limiting their Disturbing Presence effect to one part of the field. When the Blight Stuff is on defense, they'll be putting Bileflood out front and center, flanked by a pair of Rotters. If they start taking losses, they'll have to plug in one of the pestigors or bloaters, but they want to keep them off the line of scrimmage as long as they can get away with when kicking off, to keep them from getting surrounded and bogged down right away. A pestigor and a bloater will be set back on each wide lane, with the slower bloater on the inside. Then Timmy the Cruel will be set back several squares behind the front line, flanked by 2 bloaters with the claw skill, Lord Horrificus and Rotfeast the Unclean. The main strategy of this setup is to be allowed to direct their response to the other team's movements, rather than having their response dictated by the other team by boxing off or tying up key players right off the bat. Orcus, the Impure King, will be set up several squares behind Timmy the Cruel, and his main job on defense will be preventing the score. With movement 6, he has a wide threat range for blitzing, and with horns he'll have a 3-die block on anyone on the other team likely to be carrying the ball, and 2 chances to put them down with the frenzy skill. When the Snake Mountain Quirky Miniboss Squad is kicking off and on defense, their formation spreads the 4 strength 5 heavy hitters over the front line with a space between them. With their guard skill, it will be difficult for the Blight Stuff players to get the 2-die blocks they want. Skeletor will stay in the center, but set back to avoid him from getting tied up early on. The 2 movement 6 blitzers will each be set back slightly in the wide-out zones, with a lineman bodyguard just outside of the wide zone, so that Trapjaw can still use his kick skill for the kickoff. Finally, the 2 movement 6 throwers will be acting as free safeties to be the final defense against the score. On offense, the Blight Stuff's front line will be asymmetrical, attempting to concentrate their power on 1 or 2 of the Strength 5 players on the other side and try to pick them off first. Orcus can get a 2-die block on one end, but with lack of block and with the loner skill, he probably won't be the first block of the turn. On the other end of the line, they can divert a player into the hole between Bileflood and a bloater to give Rotfeast a 2-die block with claw, mighty blow, and piling on to attempt to take out the Strength 5 player on that end of the pitch. Timmy the Cruel will be set back from the line in the center, ready to foul any player his teammates can knock down. A pestigor will be set back slightly in each wideout spot, and finally Slimehooves will be back deep to receive the kick with a Rotter bodyguard. Their goal is to injure, knock out, or stun as many of the Strength 5 players on the opposing team as they can in the first turn, and then back away from them and spread around the field to run interference for the ball carrier. When the Snake Mountain Quirky Miniboss Squad is on offense and receiving the kick, they'll set the 4 Strength 5 bruisers on the line with a gap in the center. With their guard skill, they won't need a player as nose tackle to get the 2-die block on Bileflood, and with Skeletor set back slightly from the line, he has more options available and can put himself where he's most needed. A lineman and blitzer will be on the line in the wideout zone on each side, with the slower lineman on the inside. This will stretch the entire line of scrimmage across the midfield to keep opposing players out of their backfield. Something very important if they have trouble picking up the ball on the first turn or two. King Hiss will be back deep to receive the kick, with Hordak providing some cover for him. Definitely. And once again we have another prize up for grabs this game, so let's get to the contest rules. You've seen the teams, their stats, and their playbook. Now it's time to pick a winner. And the number of casualties. To take your shot, post a comment to this video with your prediction for the score for each team and the number of casualties inflicted by each team. Yes, definitely. Imagine you're trying to explain something to an unhinged person and a bulldog, and make your entry as easy to understand as possible. After getting the winning team right, the first tiebreaker is the score, with the first one closest to the correct score for each team winning. Second tiebreaker is casualties, again with the person closest to the number of casualties inflicted by each side winning. Right, so it doesn't matter if you get the casualties exactly right or if you're closer to the score than anyone else if you pick the wrong team to win. Now I'll give a little context of the playing style for these teams. As with all games in the Diabolical Bracket Tournament, I play both sides while filming the game, and basically my goal going into each game is to play the best 32 turns I possibly can. I first set up the defensive schemes for each of the two teams prior to the game, and then set up the offensive schemes based on what the opposing defense looked like. As the formations change due to injuries and knockouts, I will adjust the defense to make the most strategic sense, then adjust the offense of the opposing team accordingly. Since there's no trophy for most casualties, each team will be playing to win, and each will definitely run in for the score the first time they could do it without risky die rolls. Also, there will be a sudden death overtime in case of a tie. Overtime will begin with a coin toss to determine who gets the ball first, and will go until someone scores, so the game will not end in a tie. And finally, this time around, we're adding in a bonus surprise prize. The viewer who wins this one will be whoever correctly picks the first player to score a touchdown in the game. The rosters and names are in the video description so you can see the players and take your pick. Just add the following line in the comment with your entry, picking a player you think will make the first score of the game. If no one picks the right player, the prize will be used for the next game instead. And this is a special bonus prize, so it has no bearing on the tiebreakers for the main contest for the Nurgle's Rotters box. Yup, good luck everybody, and we'll see you on game day, Blood Bowl fans!